Hello there and welcome to the video. I'm going to continue on the subject of the old masters, the inspirations we draw from their games, we can learn, stuff like that. And to continue on that journey, we're going to look at a game between Yasser Seirawan and Jan Timman. But before we look at that game, so that we have a reference point and so we can see what we're talking about, we're going to look at one of the most famous games of all time, the opera game. So Paul Morphy with the white pieces. I haven't prepared it. This is a game most strong chess players I think know by memory, and I should have no problems to reproduce it here. d4, black played bishop to g4, Morphy took on e5. Now if you take on e5, I take on d8, then win the pawn, so black took on f3, and Morphy started with the tempo moves, threatening here, knight f6 and queen b3. Hating this one, black's in trouble because of the double attack, queen e7. And now Morphy didn't want none of this, and he developed knight to c3, c6, bishop g5, and black played b5. And here Morphy decided to use his lead in development. He took on b5, a mouse slipped, c takes b5, and bishop takes b5. Now, knight b7 more or less the only move, and white long castles. And notice how all the white pieces are active here. We have a pin, active queen, we just castled the rook. How do we get the other rook into the game? We take on d7, and we play rook d1. Black tried to unpin, but then the famous finish by Morphy, took on d7, knight takes, and queen to b8, followed by the opera mate, rook to d8. Now, pay close attention to this one. He positioning off the bishop, the other bishop with the pin, the queen, the castled king, the rook here, the second d7, and the other rook entering via d1. And let's have a look at the game in question, Seirawan against Jan Timman. So that game opened up with d4, knight f6. This was played at the match they played, I believe in 1990, c4, e6, knight f3. Offering up several things, and one of those is the Queen's Indian, which Timman plays here with b6, knight c3, and bishop b4. So we kind of transpose now to the Nimzo Indian, and Seirawan plays this rare move, queen to b3. c5 was played. There were several options. Black could play a5, but he went for c5 in the game. Seirawan put the question on the bishop, which went back to a5, and I pinned the knight on f6. Knight c6 was played by Timman, putting pressure on d4, and Seirawan castled. And e3 is a normal move here, but Seirawan was worried about something like this. And this tactic can be important, and I've seen this happen in a game where my friend was playing. d4 will hang at the end, so Seirawan went with long castles. And Timman took on c3. Now the normal move would be to take on c3 with the queen, but Seirawan did not like knight e4, and we see now this is a typical Nimzo Indian tactic. And here with the rook on d1 hanging, we have to take, and black is very happy here. Probably slightly better. He can start to target this pawn and should look forward to this queenless middle game. But Seirawan had other ideas, and he played d5 here. Timman took on d5, c takes d5, and retreated the bishop to e5. This does cost some time, because now we take on c6, we regain the piece, and we're threatening to take on e5. Timman went queen to e7. And already here, Seirawan was trying to, sense some tactical patterns. And he started looking at stuff like taking on d7 twice, with a pawn first, which he ended up doing, c takes d7. and then possibly rook takes d7. And variations like rook takes d7, this looks tempting because queen takes, we take on e5, and we're doing fine, we're doing great. So we have to take with the king. So again, notice this pin, just like in Morphy's game. And the pressure here. And the sack here. In this case, however, black should be able to defend after queen to e7. So Seirawan thought, just like in the Morphy game, I probably need more pieces, I need the bishop. So he played e3. And it turns out it's not so easy for black to castle. Because if you castle, you're going to have all these problems with the pin, with this hanging, with this hanging. You're going to lose material. So he played rook d8. Again, if he castles, I have a pleasant choice. I think I can just take on e5, and take on f6, and I win a piece because this hangs. So, Timman played rook d8. But now, he played the idea, rook takes d7. Because if you take with the king, now I have the bishop as well, and you're in big trouble. So he took with the rook. And now we see shades of Morphy's game, right? We have this pin, exact same thing. This piece is the same. Same piece, same piece. We sack the rook, the other piece is coming, we have the castle king, everything is the same. Black has the same bad king, the same queen, the same pin guy here. The patterns are there. And he said, Seirawan himself said, he was thinking of this Morphy game. The patterns sort of, come together. It's not exactly the same, but, the lineup of the pieces, allows for something. And turns out black, doesn't have a pleasant choice here. Again, if he castles, we can safely take on d7 and then on e5, or the other way around. He played bishop d6, but now rook d1, activating the other rook. And now finally white cashes in, takes on d7, and plays bishop f4. White is not even down material, but the pressure here on this bishop is too much, and black was not able to cope with it. He played c4, queen c2. Of course we couldn't take the pawn because rook c8. Knight e8, we had to do something to defend here, but now knight g5, this threat right here. Black tried to block it, but queen takes e4 now, jack. And after this, black is simply in trouble. He tried rook d8. A move like rook f6, we can check here. And turns out this pin is almost impossible to get out of, and white is just winning. Already up a pawn, he's going to win more material. So rook d8 was tried in the game, but knight e6, queen c8 check, king b1. And now with the rook hanging, we have to keep an eye on this, but here Seirawan found the final blow. He took on d6 and Timman resigned. So if you take on d6, I'll take back, well, we can see the move. And there's no defense here on the back rack. We're going to play this move next, and there's nothing that black can do about it. He's going to be down too much material, and he's going to lose. So a cool game, and I really loved, how the piece placement, the second d7, and a lot of things were mirrored from the Morphy game, and this is how, the masters, they draw, from the knowledge of these old games of the old masters, and it's always relevant. So, study the games of the old masters. That's the way to go. Hope you enjoyed the video. See you in the next one. Bye bye.